Hello guys, welcome back to your channel TNN. Today our topic of discussion is gonna be China's food binding. But before that, if you like our content flow, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel. A small support from you guys will means a lot to us. So let's get started. Food binding was a custom carried out by the young girls of Tang dynasty in China to restrict their normal development and make their feet as small as possible. Considered an attractive quality, the effects of this process are painful and permanent, widely used as a way to distinguish upper class girls from others, and later as a way for lower classes to improve social prospectus. The practice of food binding continued until the early 1900s. So, how it started? Who first introduced it to them? It is said that the food binding was inspired by a court dancer named Yon Yang, a Turkic dancer who performed there during the 10th century CE. These dancers were known for their small feet and bow shoes, which had upturned toes, who tied her feet into the shape of a crescent moon. She stood on the tiptoe and danced gracefully among a 6-foot golden lotus, decorated with ribbons and precious stones, which fascinated Emperor Li Yu. In addition to changing the shape of the foot, this practice also produces a special gait that relies on the support of the thigh and buttocks muscles. From the beginning, foot binding was full of eroticism. Gradually, other ladies in the court, with money, time and gaps that need to be filled, begin to bandage their feet, making it a status symbol among the elite. The little feet of China are no different from the slim waist of Victorian England, representing the height of feminine elegance. For families with married daughters, the size of the feet translates into their own coin shape and a means of achieving upward mobility. The most desirable bride is 3 inches and is called the golden lotus. There are 4 inches of feet and enormous or decent, also called silver lotus, but 5 inches or longer are considered iron lotus. The marriage prospectus for such a girl are really bleak. How the foot was binded? This process must begin in the childhood of a girl at the age of 5 or 6 years old, and a painful one. First, her feet were immersed in hot water and her nails were cut off. Then massage and oil the feet before breaking all the toes except the big toe and leaning on the soles of the feet to form a triangle. Then her arches tightened and her feet bent. Finally, tie the feet in a place with a silk strip that is 10 feet long and around 2 inches wide. These bandages are briefly removed every other day to prevent blood and pus from infecting the feet. If there was any excess flesh, it was cut up or encouraged to rot. The girls were forced to walk a long way to accelerate breaking their arches. Over time, the heel and sole are pressed together. The warp becomes tighter and the shoes become smaller. 2 years later, the process was completed and a deep crack formed that could even contain the coin. Once a foot is crushed and tied, its shape cannot be reversed without going through the same unbearable pain. The foot binding was a fashion boost at first. After the Mongols invaded China in 1279, it became an expression of Han identity. The fact that only Chinese women can practice foot binding makes this practice short for national pride. As the Manchu tried in the 17th century, attempts to periodically ban the foot binding have never been the foot binding itself, but rather what it symbolizes. For the Chinese, this practice shows every day that they are culturally superior to the rude barbarians who rule them. Like Confucianism, it has become another difference between the Han people and the rest of the world. The irony is that, although Confucian scholars initially condemned foot binding as frivolous, the women's insistence on both was confusing. Has it ended or still in practice? In the 19th century, the reform-minded Chinese intellectuals began to consider foot binding as a backwardness of China and advocated to abolish the practice. However, any movements to oppose it failed. It was not until 1912 that foot binding was banned by the New Republic of China government, although it was completely rejected by China. The last Lotus shoe factory that closed was in 1999. It survived for 1,000 years by emotional investment in real practice. The lotus shoe is a reminder that the history of women did not follow straight lines from misery to progress. Meanwhile, Chinese women worked their energy and talent to achieve three versions of physical integrity. That's it for the day. For more information like this, keep following us and keep a track on our daily updates by clicking that bell icon below. Thank you.